you an angel?
The young slave Anakin Skywalker meets Queen Padmé Amidala on his home planet of Tatooine, believing that she is an angel from the moon of Iego. This chance encounter would start a domino effect that would later lead to the birth of one of the galaxy's most fearsome foes, Darth Vader, the legendary Sith apprentice of Darth Sidious. Several years after their initial encounter, Anakin's nightmares and paranoia over the death of his wife, Padme led him to seek the guidance of Sidious, which many known him as Chancellor Palpatine at the end of the Clone Wars. Fueled by the burden of his love for her, Anakin was quickly swayed by the teachings of the Sith, embarking on a journey of dark deeds that left him scarred, Padme dead, and the liberty of the Republic overthrown by the tyranny of the First Galactic Empire. Joined together under the rule of two, Vader and Sidious ruled the Galactic Empire with an iron fist for nearly 2 decades, conquering system after system until their defeat. But what if Anakin never saw Padme as an angel? What if Anakin never fell in love with her at all? Would the course of history in the galaxy change? Stay tuned to this episode of What If? And welcome to A Certain Point of View. The events of the Phantom Menace would remain relatively unchanged. The Trade Federation would still be defeated in Naboo. Palpatine would be elected Chancellor. Qui-Gon would die in a duel against Darth Maul, and Anakin would end up a Jedi Padawan under the tutelage of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Now, fast forward 10 years later to Attack of the Clones. The long-awaited reunion between Anakin and Padme probably wouldn't have been as awkward as it originally turned out. Anakin dreaming of her every day for 10 years? Not in this timeline. Now, Anakin would simply be Padme's platonic bodyguard, evading the assassination efforts of Dooku with much less romantic tension. Hell, we may not have even seen Anakin awkwardly express his disdain for sand either. That kiss by the lake doesn't happen here. We now have an Anakin who abides much more strictly by the Jedi Code, unburdened by intense emotions of love with his focus solely on the mission and the goals of the Council. For now, at least. The rest of Attack of the Clones would go relatively the same, with Anakin and Padme still nothing more than just friends. They go to Tatooine, and his mother is killed by Tusken Raiders who he slaughters with great rage. The two end up on Geonosis, where they rendezvous with Obi-Wan, this time without a kiss. Anakin still loses his arm in a duel with Dooku, who escapes after Yoda fails to defeat him. Palpatine's master plan in orchestrating the Clone Wars from both sides proceeds as usual, and Anakin and Padme never have any secret wedding on Naboo. Anakin later takes Ahsoka under his wing as a Padawan, training her throughout the Clone Wars until her eventual exile. Now, with much relatively unchanged by the time Revenge of the Sith rolls around, we still have an Anakin who is still susceptible to anger, losing control of his emotions in a few instances throughout the war. However, the biggest change of all is that we never get Padme pregnant with the twins Luke and Leia, which will prove to be a critical point later down the line. With Anakin focused on the war effort and lacking any affection for Padme, the two drift apart as friends. Padme remains a diplomat in the Galactic Senate, still close to Bail Organa, but does not play any sort of role in Anakin's fall to the dark side. Palpatine's plans still proceed as he had foreseen, swaying Anakin regardless after he becomes jaded with the Jedi Council. This time, however, Anakin is not so easily swayed by the stories of Darth Plagueis's creating life, as they do not correlate to what would have been nightmares of Padme's death. This time around, Palpatine manipulates Anakin on the faults and flaws of the Jedi more than he had before in the original timeline.
Anakin, your destiny is greater than the Jedi would let you believe. The Jedi is dogmatic in their ways, so arrogant in their methods. The Force has led them to hold themselves so high above the rest, they seem to lose their sense of reality.
Well, Chancellor, the Force works in mysterious ways.
No, Anakin. Never cloud the lines between the decision of the Jedi and the will of the Force.
Anakin listens closely, wondering where Palpatine is leading this to.
Their arrogance will lead them to their downfall, revealing themselves to the world who they truly are. A cult of self-righteous powermongers vying for the supremacy in the Force.
Anakin was shocked at what Palpatine just said.
No, Palpatine, they are not.
Then tell me, Anakin, why are you not a Jedi Master yet?
Anakin treads his thoughts, stuttering, searching deep inside for the answer. But at the end, he couldn't form a single good reason why, but he could only muster up an excuse for the Jedis.
I guess the time isn't right.
Then when is it? I'll tell you when you are dead on the battlefield. Only then when they will make you an honorary Jedi Master. To them, you are of greater use as a legend to inspire future generations of Jedis than a Jedi Master in the Council.
No, you're wrong, Palpatine.
Think, Anakin, think! If you don't join the Jedi, what are you to them? You will become their enemy. You're recruited so they can control you, not to let you be what you need to be.
That's not true. At least not Obi-Wan. He is not that type of person.
Obi-Wan is in on it. You can sense it. He's more afraid of you than he loves you. Everyone who's with the Jedi hates you, fears you, envious of your power.
Anakin steps back, trying to think of all the people working for him, worked with him, and without the love of Padme to ground him to the light side. Anakin snapped.
How could they? I did everything for them. I sacrificed so many men for them.
And you will continue to do so under their control, Anakin. We gifted Force users are cursed with their envy as much as their admiration.
Anakin looks up to Palpatine, completely defeated by their exchange of wit and ideology.
Join me. I'll show you what your true power can be. Become Darth Vader.
Palpatine reaches his hand, calling to Anakin.
I will, Master.
This conversation left him disillusioned, angry, and critical of their methodology in ways that he could have never imagined. Palpatine promises Anakin the power and authority that the Jedi never granted him under his new empire, leaving Anakin with much to consider. Now a loyal pawn of Sidious, Anakin helps to execute Order 66 after the death of Mace Windu, carrying out the extermination of the Jedi galaxy-wide. Obi-Wan later duels with Anakin on Mustafar, crippling him and leaving him for dead before he is saved by Sidious, now Emperor. Vader takes his place at his side, much less burdened by a loss of love, and fueled more than ever by his anger over the Jedi and his hatred for Obi-Wan. Without any secret twins to protect, Obi-Wan endures years of exile on the run from the Inquisitors and Vader himself, moving from planet to planet and system to system. Yoda himself remains in exile on Dagobah, living his days as a depressed hermit who failed all those around him. Escaping the reach of the authoritarian empire, Padmé Amidala would eventually go on to join what would become the Rebel Alliance, acting as a diplomat alongside Bail Organa and Mon Mothma. The war that would ensue would likely be just as brutal and devastating as it was in the original timeline, seeing players such as Cassian Andor, Hera Syndulla, Ezra Bridger, Rex, and most importantly, Ahsoka Tano playing a bigger role than they had before. Obi-Wan does eventually join the Rebels, but is killed early after a fated rematch between him and his old apprentice. In this timeline, the Empire sustains far less critical defeats, especially without any Luke around to destroy the Death Star. With the lack of Luke Skywalker being around to sway Vader back to the light, Ahsoka would instead take his place, playing a similar role. Vader seeks out his old Padawan, preying upon her disillusionment with the Jedi Order in many chance encounters throughout the war. Ahsoka Tano implores him to turn back to the light side, emphasizing that there is still hope for redemption. On a mission to destroy the Death Star, Ahsoka dashes across the hallway ready to jump onto the ship to retreat from a failed mission. Then a mysterious voice halted her steps.
My young apprentice.
Master Anakin!
Vader dismisses this, declaring that Anakin Skywalker is dead and accusing the Jedi Order of failing both of them.
Anakin is dead. I am now Darth Vader.
No, there is still the Anakin I know in there.
Have I taught you no respect? The Jedi still have some influence in you. After all they done to you, framed you, exiled you, betrayed you.
No, Anakin, you betrayed the Jedi. You betrayed the Republic.
If they had been more respectful of my true potential, then I would have stayed. But look at them. They destroyed your career. They ruined the galaxy with their dogmatic ways. Ahsoka, you are better than these scum. Leaving the Jedi is the best thing you have done for them.
Ahsoka is disgusted by what Anakin just said.
You don't mean that.
Anakin slowly walked towards his old Padawan.
I do. Every single word of it. I will build an empire that will turn the Jedi Order into ruins. You, Ahsoka, could be my right-hand man, an heir to the throne of my galaxy.
Ahsoka was shocked by the proposal. Ahsoka argues that the Jedi always stood for a greater cause, and that both Obi-Wan and Yoda believed in Anakin's potential.
The Jedis believed you, Obi-Wan believed you, I believed you. How could you do this to us?
Vader retorts that the Jedi were weak and blind to the real threats leading to their downfall. He insists that power is the only truth in the galaxy, asserting that with it they can bring the order and peace the Jedi could not.
Their belief blinds them to the truth. Ahsoka, can't you see? With my power, I did what the Jedis can't in years. I brought peace, freedom, justice, and security to my new empire.
Your new empire?
Look out there, all the things we do. What's it for? It's all about power, Ahsoka. They take away yours so they could keep theirs. Power is the only thing that will change the galaxy, and that's what keeping them from making the change needed to the Republic that's so needed.
He ends by acknowledging Ahsoka's strength and suggesting she join him. Hoping to turn her to the dark side and complete her training as master.
You've always been a powerful Jedi. Your potential is almost as high as mine.
He reaches his hand out to invite Ahsoka.
Join me and create my galaxy, together. My galaxy will fear no war, no hunger, no crimes. I will ensure everyone will be treated like an equal. Not the way Jedis have treated me and you. We will no longer be slaves.
I will never join you.
Then I'll wait for you. The Force works in mysterious ways.
Vader pitches his plan to destroy Sidious and usher in a new era with her at his side, which leaves Ahsoka contemplative and almost open to the idea.
Before you go, Ahsoka, I want you to know, Sidious will fall, and I will need someone to take my place when that happens. The door will always be open to you.
Fearful that Vader's criticisms of the Jedi may be justified, Ahsoka seeks Yoda's guidance on Dagobah. After a long-winded session of study, and eventually a hard conversation, the two clear the air on many of the faults in the system that held the Jedi down for generations, giving her the clarity that she wished she had received years ago. She bids farewell to Yoda, who then succumbs to old age. With a new perspective and ambition, Ahsoka engages in a final confrontation with Vader, who has already slaughtered Sidious, leaving a second position vacant for her to claim.
So, you finally did it, Vader.
I see you learned some manners yourself, Ahsoka.
Ahsoka chuckles, reminiscing their quips and banter back in the old days. But soon she will have to make a decisive choice that will alter the fate of the galaxy. She ignites her lightsaber, beaming in her signature white color.
Very bold of you to challenge me when I'm at the most powerful than I have ever been.
I will defeat you, Vader, once and for all.
You will try.
Ahsoka then initiated an attack, leading to an epic clash of flashing lightsabers and the symphony of clanging blows. The two violently clash both their sabers and their philosophies as the Rebel Alliance finally gains a critical upper hand on the Empire.
You are weak. You could have done so much more if you followed my path.
No! Vader, you are the coward. You are the one that could defeat the Sith, not join them. You chose the easy way. I chose the way of the Force.
Ahsoka is finally able to defeat her former master, who before dying realizes that he may have been wrong in how he approached his hatred for the Jedi.
Ahsoka, I'm sorry. I failed you.
Ahsoka looked at the defeated Vader in the eye.
You did whatever you could to make the galaxy a better place, but the Jedis made you what you are.
Vader with faded breath said his final words.
Make the galaxy better for me. Promise me. Snips.
Ahsoka tearfully nods.
One more thing. Tell me, Ahsoka.
Ahsoka listens carefully.
Does Padme still looks like an angel?
Ahsoka smiles and chuckles.
Yes, she does.
Great. Maybe some things should stay the same in the galaxy.
As he is reminiscing of simpler times when Anakin was but a young boy in the galaxy, he fades away from reality and becomes one with the Force. Padme survives the war and later helps to form the New Republic, restoring it to a similar state that it was in when she was a senator on Naboo. Most of history then proceeds as it usually does into the new era. Palpatine's contingency plan proceeds with Snoke this time, with no Ben Solo around to continue what Vader started. Ahsoka would then go on to teach a new Jedi Order, unburdened by the dated and flawed teachings that plagued them for several generations. With Anakin and Padme never falling in love, we are left with a completely altered history from what we originally saw. Despite similar events and plot beats, the roles of certain characters are either reduced or increased. Padme plays a less pivotal role. Anakin's fall to the dark side is fueled more so by hate rather than love, and Ahsoka Tano becomes one of the galaxy's most celebrated heroes who helped to correct the ways of the Jedi that led Anakin to fall into darkness. Thank you for watching A Certain Point of View. If you like more Star Wars content, be sure to like and subscribe. Comment down below what sort of scenario we should do next. And, as always, may the Force be with you.